Hey guys, it's Rich here. Welcome to the Rich Mix. Nate Dog. Thanks for coming
Yeah,
on
so
board, my
definitely
friend.
should have done a wrap. Definitely should have done a wrap.
Yeah, I know. I should have done it right. Next time, I'll
Okay.
think of something.
Nah, thanks for having me, mate. Happy to be here.
Yeah, no worries. So we were talking earlier about business. So tell us about, because obviously you do SMP. Do you want to talk to people about what SMP is?
Sure, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Yes, so basically SMP stands for, and before I start, I think SMP is a terrible name for it. It stands for Scalp Micropigmentation. So
Yeah.
scalp because it's applied to the scalp, micro because they're micro impressions, they're tiny, and then pigmentation because we use pigment, not ink.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the name should be. I'm open to suggestions. Even a hair tattoo,
Yeah.
but I think sometimes people get scared when you use the word tattoo. But yeah, I've been full time with SMP for, geez, 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Wow, that's gone fast. I've
And
been doing it for 2.5 years.
I know it sounds like something out of the ASX, like stock market exchange.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I
yeah.
bought some of
Hey,
those.
look, also, if anyone wants to invest,
Yeah, I bought some of those S and
contact
P
me.
stocks.
I'll put my Blueprint account number underneath the podcast episode. I'm taking all investors.
Yeah, yeah. No, awesome. It is. We're in a funny time at the moment. So as we talked about, the personal service industry is slowed down a fair bit. So what do you do now? What do you do to hustle for funds?
So what happens as well, just to expand on that, is when it comes to personal appearance, it's sort of like it's similar to personal training or as you go across anything that's aesthetically being improved, that's the first thing that gets dropped. And I've felt this a couple of times, so I have a bit of a process that I go into. But what I'll say is this, is that every single time that the market drops and the tap turns off, it feels exactly the same. I have the exact same freak out. I have the exact same impulse to fix that problem straight away.
Mm.
And that could be anything from quitting to jumping across to another career to me, myself, I've had plenty of, I've done a lot of trade work in the past,
Mm.
and trade work seems to be something that never truly dries up.
Mm.
So my first impulse is always jumping across into a new industry and making money because it's hard to turn down money to do something that you enjoy, which is basically what the choice that I've had to make by moving across to SMP. So
Yeah.
probably the first thing I'd say is taking a fucking deep breath
Yeah.
and just sitting back and trying to control the controllables. And what that is me doing the work.
Yeah.
So in having a look at what am I missing, what maybe it's an extra couple of hours each day. Maybe it's calling that client back a third time.
Mm.
Maybe it's touching base with somebody. So my first point of call is to take a deep breath and realize what it is.
Mm.
Second thing is to have prepared for it earlier. So in my busier times, I try and put money away for the quieter times. Then the third thing that I do is that I go back through all of my clients, anyone who's ever inquired, and I just touch base.
Mm.
It could be simple as like, hey, how you going? Like, how's life going? I know that you inquired about SMP back in 2001. Is it something that you're looking at? How's your hair loss journey going? And what I try and do there is not try and sell to close them, is I try and provide information for free
Yeah.
so that I'm in the forefront of their mind. So,
Yeah.
because I've been in the hair loss industry for so long, I know everything there is to know about transplants, and I'm constantly learning everything there is to know about hair loss, wigs, any treatment that's out there. I'm thoroughly studying so that when I make that phone call, is if they're looking for a transplant, I don't just jump off the phone
Mm.
because a lot of the time that turns into a lead.
Yeah.
So that's a long answer, but it's making the most out of every single opportunity and not being too big to lower my prices or just figure out what it is holding them back. It could be finances. It could be they've seen a bad treatment. It could be they're worried about the character of me. So they might need to just sit down and have a conversation with me to see that I'm a real person.
Yeah.
Um, although I'm putting all my eggs back into my basket that is SMP, I'm still not worried. I
Yeah.
know that there's a point where I could just go, okay, I'll go pick up a job.
That's it.
And I was a brick and block layer for 8 years. So
Yeah.
like physical labor for me
What were you doing? Block.
brick and block laying for
Oh, okay.
8 years.
Yeah, that's hardcore, you know?
Yeah, I started when I was 14. I finished up probably 22, 23. I went back briefly because I had a dip in one business, went back to bricklaying for a couple of months, then got back out.
Yeah, it's hard yakka, mate.
Yeah, I'd say that and roof tiling would be the two hardest physical trades that you can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. 100% roof tiling is crazy. I've got a good friend that does roof tiling, and it's, yeah, for doing it for years, finding it really hard to get out of it, you know, because it's so hard on your
Oh,
body.
good money in that too. Definitely good money in the re-roofs and stuff like that. I used to have
Yeah.
a roof paint. Oh.
Yeah. Bloody hell. Yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of things to do. And there is a side hustle that you are doing at the moment. You want to tell us about your stand up?
Man, I've got so many side things. So, first of all, would be the podcast.
Yep. So
Um,
podcast, tell me about that. What made you want to start the podcast?
so I was sitting at, God, I've had the podcast for 2 years now,
Yeah.
I think. And I was just sitting there one day, and you probably see this as well, Rich, is that when you play on your phone now, like your attention span is shorter than it's ever been, right?
Yeah.
And when you turn on the TV, I haven't turned on the TV in a long time, but even on the TV, it's very short clips of news and the world. And when I would listen to podcasts, what I really loved about it, and the thing that I fell in love with, is that it's a long form conversation,
Mm.
and it, you're able to go into depth into topics, because I think so much of the knee jerk reaction in the world is snippets that might piss somebody off, and then they carry that into their day. And
Mm.
so many times, I don't know if you've found this as well, but when you watch a podcast and you might have a preconceived idea of somebody, when you hear them talk for an hour, they're either going to be 100% a cockhead,
Yeah.
or you're going to go, oh, I was wrong about this person.
Yeah. Or yeah, you're relatable to them, you know, some in wacky way.
Relatable,
Yeah.
and it's something that, and even in the world, when you sit down and have a conversation with friends, like how often do we have an hour conversation without our phone?
Mm.
Like for me, it's an opportunity to have a long, in-depth conversation with somebody that I find interesting. We don't have our phones, we don't have anything distracting us, and we can actually talk about a subject in a lot of depth.
Yeah.
So, I yes, so it got me intrigued, and then I decided to do it. And what's hilarious about when I started is that I bought a microphone, bought all the cords and stuff like that. I never set it up before, and I landed like the biggest podcast guest that I could ever land on my first
Oh
episode.
my God. Who was that?
His name's Tony Abagnato, so he's
Yeah.
probably the biggest superstar, and also a very, very close friend of mine now
Yeah.
in the world in SMP. So like
Awesome.
he's like the Justin Bieber. He's like the Slim. He's like the Slim Shady of the
Okay.
SMP world.
Of the
No,
SMP. That's
he's like
awesome.
touring the world on stage, big presence. It just so happened, luckily, on the day after a masterclass, I was in an apartment in Byron Bay, and I never even recorded anything. The whole interview, his microphone's off and mine's on, so that's where the
Oh,
audio is
that's
coming
out of
through.
whack. Yeah.
You can hear a garbage truck picking up the bins in the background. But yeah, anyway, that was and after I did it, I was like, this is a fit for me, and I've loved the process too, mate. And I'm really harping on about the one side thing that I'm doing, but I love the process of learning like how to interview better, how to extract information out of people better, and like I wouldn't I'd even go even further and say I'd love to interview full stop. I don't know where that goes to, but
Yeah,
I've been interviewing a few MMA fighters,
yeah,
and I don't know where that can lead next, but yeah, I really love the whole process of it.
yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. And one of the things, you're right, because when you watch TV or any other thing you see that's live, everything is scripted. Every single thing is an act. We all put on a show. On a podcast, you're just going to be yourself. You're always yourself, talking. There's no telling you what to say, or no prompters. It's just you talking shit. You know what I mean?
And sometimes that what I've found is sometimes that has been I wouldn't say a bad thing, but it's been a eye-opening thing for someone who I've thought is so inspirational and motivational. And then once I get them 30 minutes deep into a conversation, I start to dive a little bit deeper. You realize it's a facade,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I think that's important too because we Instagram's bullshit.
yeah, yeah. It is, man. I see it all the time. I've seen people in the background. You see them on stage, or you see them, and then you see them in normal life, as they say. Yeah, they're just like you and me. They just,
Completely different.
it's you're just gotta. They put on a certain hat, or and they're acting. They have to put this persona on. That persona for their online, self. It's crazy.
And the other thing too is what I've liked throughout going through this little journey of podcasting and other things is how I've navigated myself too, because I've had opportunities to have people on with a big following,
Yeah,
but I know them personally and that they're actually full of shit, and
yeah,
everything that they post is their life is the polar opposite.
yeah,
And I've said no, like, and trust me, like that would have boosted my podcast a lot. Like I could use it,
yeah,
but I like I want to keep it authentic. I want to keep it who I want to talk to, and yeah, it's something that I do hold pretty dearly to me is
yeah.
that podcast.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah.
That's
That's the
funny.
thing. I think even people I've had on, they've been like a wider circle of friends, of people that I just know. They're just normal, and as you get older, I think your circles obviously get smaller, but it's
Definitely.
smaller but quality. You know what I mean? Like really, and the people I've got around me, and there's so many friends that I've had in the previous podcast really inspire me what they've done. Like, and that's what I really love, because for me it's about learning from other people, and then other people that are watching it, get them inspired by them as well. So then if we all
Oh,
did something amazing in the life in the world, well, we all can make a massive difference. That's what I feel.
for sure. And can I ask you, do you think that you would have had that conversation in person with those people, or do you think the podcast brought it out of you?
Yeah, I think the podcast brings it out 100%. I think it brings it out of them. I know about it, but what I wanted to do is share with everyone else that they're very quiet and humble about. So they know about it, they've done it, but no one else knows about it. So this way it kind of gets them out there,
For sure, for
because
sure.
they're
And
out.
also, you probably, I don't know if you've had any feedback, but you, I was so surprised at how many people listened and actually would take stuff on board that, because you don't actually know if anyone does or doesn't.
No, you don't know.
I've been approached at, bars or like out at the beach and stuff like that, and people are like, oh, I loved, and they'll quote something back to me, and I can't even remember sometimes that part of the conversation, but um, even one guy had a notes list of like all the quotes of the different things that he would took out of the episode.
Yeah, awesome. Oh my God. How
Oh,
cool
he
is
gets,
that?
and I always thought if I can get one bit of information out to somebody, I'd be stoked.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's fantastic, man. And you know what it is? Even when you're actually in that process, like we're in the zone now talking, things
Hmm.
pop up that you never think about because someone else brought it out of you. That topic. Do you know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
think that's really cool.
yeah.
So yeah, so going back to the side hustles, what other things
Oh,
that
yeah.
you got? The podcasts. What else you doing?
I'm so cautious to touch my ear right
Oh,
now.
don't touch it.
So, what I'll say is this, right? So, the exciting answer is comedy. But what's funny um, so comedy is one of my hobbies slash side hustles at the moment, and I've been doing it now for about 6 months.
Yeah.
But something 2 weeks ago, I started playing golf.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
Yeah, so like I never thought I'd like golf, but the reason I say that is that when I tell somebody that I do comedy or that I'm a comedian, the shock is in it's it's I said this in a podcast 2 episodes ago when I talked to a comedian, is it almost brings up the dreams. It almost is like the cemetery of the dreams of the other person when you say something like comedy, because it is something so scary. It doesn't mean that they want to be a comedian. But what I'm getting at here is that I've also started playing golf, but it's not a big reaction, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The big scary thing is the comedy. But
Because in your head, they're both the same thing. It's just a hobby. You're trying something different. But the comedy, like when you said comedy, and when I saw your post, it's like I told my wife Rachel, I said, "Man, I wanted to do one of my things on my bucket list was to do a stand-up gig somewhere, but I keep on forgetting shit. I come up with some really cool stuff, and I forget to write it down. I'm like, shit, what was that I just talked about? you know, and yeah, so I just forget shit. That's what I'm like. I freak out about it. So when you said you've done it, I think it's awesome because I think that would be one of the scariest things. Like, I've got in front of people and talked about random stuff and a lot of people, but when it comes to actually playing with their senses and, poking them in the side for a laugh, with what comes out of you, it's tricky. You know what I mean?
yeah, it is. It definitely is. But I tell you what, when I'm trying to putt and I'm on my third or fourth putt and I'm trying to get that ball in the hole, it's frustrating and it's really hard. But
Yeah.
there's no difference, mate. I've done jiu-jitsu, boxing. I've done plenty of different. I've played rugby league, AFL. Like, there's so many different things that I've done throughout my life. But there's no difference with comedy. The difference is that the initial fear is just so much more.
Yeah.
Um, and the reason that is because of judgment of other people.
Mm.
That's that thing that you feel is that if you go and play golf, you're not getting judged by a room full of people. That's the scary part of
Yeah.
it.
You just get judged by the
Um,
guys that are behind you waiting to go next.
that definitely, you would definitely get some comics that are judging whether you fit or not. But but the scariest part of doing comedy is how everybody reacts to you doing comedy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's awesome. Good on you, man. I'll tell you what I love about golf, but I haven't played for a long time. Is I remember used to go in the mornings and he was like, God, I love that smell of that freshly, cut grass. It's the best. Just the grass smell. People go, what are you talking about, you weirdo? Mate, it's awesome. First thing in the morning, it smells like grass. You walk around, and some golf courses, bloody kangaroos running around. It's super cool, very relaxing.
Yeah, it's always scenic, right? Like I've only played for the last 2 weeks, but and what I like about golf is that, and God, this is so relatable across everything, is that how I play on those 9 holes is completely depicted of my mindset in that morning. I was more stressed about finances on Wednesday morning and some other personal things,
Mm.
and I played terribly. The week before, I had a lot of clarity and had a fantastic night.
Yeah,
And that's exactly the same as writing jokes. I can't. The best advice I would give to someone writing jokes is getting yourself in the state of mind to actually write.
mm.
So when you say you're forgetting things and it's something that you put on the back burner, it's about creating mental space
Mm.
somewhere for that comedy, and it's a lot of mental space
Mm.
because there's a lot of it's almost like comedy is almost 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
24. Yeah. It's every hour because you're constantly looking for something funny, always. Even
yeah.
right now, if I think of something funny, I'll stop and I'll write it
Write
down.
it down. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have to, because that could be in 6 months' time my best joke.
That's like me with weight loss secrets. I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna write that down.
There is no secret, mate.
I know, there's no secret. But I'll tell you now, someone that's probably watching this, I've just hooked up with a program with my mate, Luke Cook, and he's in Adelaide. He's like a NLP hypnosis, but he's a fitness coach, and I'm on a program with him, and I'm probably the slackest person in his group. You know what I mean? I was really
Hmm.
counting like measuring shit, weight, all this kind of stuff. Oh my god, it's so hard. It is so hard. You do it. You're good at it. You make your meals up.
Yeah. What I'll say is that sometimes as well, with when it comes to health and fitness, is that it might not be the diet and it might not be the training. It might be just overall health.
Mm,
So things like testosterone, vitamin D, B12, iron, your growth hormone that's in your body as well. All these things you can go and get a blood test. Like when I
yeah,
sit down and have an SMP client in, mate, you get a lot of bang for your buck because I'm your therapist. I'm a qualified personal trainer. I've done advanced nutrition and science. I know all the ins and outs
look what I'm
of
drinking. I should be
yeah.
drinking Pepsi. These Pepsi Max, no calories.
I love Pepsi Max, mate. I drink Pepsi Max every single day, and and I've been through like I've gone to I've been in hospital and very sick and very ill, and to being able to not train to the point where doctors saying you cannot go do physical activity, to turning around and being fit as I am today. But a lot of it, diet, yes, training, yes, but anyone listening to this, go get your blood work done.
Yeah,
Go.
I'm
Uh,
actually booked in on Monday. I'm getting it rechecked because I put one of those glucose monitors on my arm,
yeah, yeah, no, I'm sorry.
and I've had that for the last month, and it's been really good because I can see what food's spiking my glucose levels and all this kind of stuff, and it spikes, but it comes back down really quickly. But certain
Mm.
foods are like way really high, so I've decided to stay off them for a while.
Can I ask, so when you say you're going to get a blood test, are you going to a general practitioner?
Yeah, at the moment. And then because my
Yeah,
brother's
this is my area of caution. That is that I understand this. Like, I don't. I have a bad view on general practitioners, but there is some good ones. But this
yeah,
is the problem with seeing a general practitioner for stuff like that, is that if there's something deficient in your blood work, they're not going to show it to you. And the reason why they're not going to show it to you is because they don't have something to supplement for that.
yeah, yeah.
So they are doing more and more with iron and stuff like that, but
Mm,
their markers are so, some of them are so out of whack that
mm,
you could go there, Rich, and be completely deficient in testosterone,
mm.
and they're not going to tell you that. They're
Yeah,
going to tell you good reason. And if you are deficient in testosterone, and a lot of people don't like to have this conversation, is that, mate, you could train as much as you want. It's going to be completely irrelevant.
mm, yeah.
You'll never come.
I
Oh,
know
your body
exactly.
this one.
Well, this doctor I'm going to go mainly see about my cholesterol because it's been like 3 months, or 6 months, and just checking my basic stuff. But yeah, my brother's actually seeing not a like a doctor, but specializes in a little bit more, like what you're talking about, checks the blood work for testosterone, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll be doing that with that doctor as well. So
If you
forward
don't
to
want to go to a doctor, a great website is called iScreen,
it.
and
Yeah,
you can do your own custom blood tests, and
yeah,
they'll
okay.
send.
They'll send you like a kit and you just do it. Are they based here in Australia or US?
No, so you have to go to a QML. So you go to the normal blood test
Oh,
place,
okay, yeah. Yeah.
and basically they email you the results straight away. That's
Yeah,
another
yeah,
thing
cool.
too. If your GP does give you results, get those results straight back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, something to think about. Because as you get older, man, shit starts falling apart. I'm telling you
For
now.
sure, man. And
And
even
everything
younger too.
slows
And
down.
even, and even younger as well, younger and older.
Yeah.
Um, but there's no reason why people can't be like fighting fit. Like my dad is 64 years old and my mum is, oh God, I've got this wrong. No, mum's 64 and dad's 62.
Yeah.
They're in Nepal right now doing their third hike of Mount Everest.
Yeah. How cool is that? That's awesome.
And my dad runs absolute rings around me. He's absolutely shredded, trains more than I do.
Yeah.
Um, but but they look after themselves. They look after their body, and yeah, I think they'll be able to keep it up for another 10, 20 years.
Yeah. No, that's it. Well, I want to start doing that myself, trying to get my food right. and lose a bit of weight and just doing a bit more. We're just moving more. I'm doing that now. It's hard,
Moving
man.
more.
Yeah, moving, just moving, just
And
moving.
sometimes I think the stereotypical thing to think is that you got to go out and train really hard,
Mm.
but it's definitely not the way. When I personal train people, it's more about movement, overall movement. If
Yeah.
you go for a walk in the morning and walk in the afternoon, that's going to be better than a gym session anyway.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah.
You don't
No,
want to put that pressure on your joints early. You don't want to fatigue yourself out too early.
hey, the
Otherwise,
pressure is drinking how much bloody water? I'm supposed to drink like, what are you at? Nearly 2.5 of these a day. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, yeah. My trainer's like, Rich, you need 3.5 liters a day. So I feel like I'm drowning. It's like some type of torture. You know,
I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to subside the hunger and the cravings for water.
yeah. Just
It's a
get rid
good,
of
it's
the
a
man.
good method, but
Yeah.
it is.
But then I'm eating a lot as well. The meal, oh my God, eating so much food. Mainly
Oh, that's
protein.
good.
Yeah, eating a lot of
Yeah.
protein.
You'll feel like you're eating more before you're eating less.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I
That's
feel like
always
I'm
how
eating.
it
I spend
works.
half the time preparing foods now. So what are you doing? I'm preparing food today. What are you doing in the morning? Preparing
Well,
food.
mate, the end goal of all of this is that it doesn't feel like that after you've done it for a while.
Yeah, yeah. I know that's it.
I haven't tracked a calorie or a macro in nearly 4 years.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Mate, as long
It's,
as I can stick with a couple of Pepsi Maxes once a day, one a day, I'm sweet, you know?
you got to have a Pepsi Max every day. It's good for the soul.
And we're not getting paid by Pepsi Max. Just putting it out there as well. Just letting everyone know.
Hey, I'd take some money from Pepsi Max.
I wouldn't mind.
I'm
You
big
can't pay
fan.
us. I don't care.
Just send me some free ones.
Yeah, yeah, a couple of cases. No, awesome. So, what's the plans next? What other things are you've got in the horizon that you're thinking about?
Horizon. Hey, my week is pretty well going to stay the same and just progress overall and everything. Like at the moment, like for comedy, the when you start, the first amount of time you're on stage is 5 minutes. So I've been perfecting 5 minutes for I think I've done 7 open mics.
Yeah,
So I'm going to be perfecting that 5 minutes until I turn that into 10 minutes. And then once you've got 10 minutes, that's when you can sort of create a show around that
yeah,
because you can't really headline something and get people in with 5 minutes worth of jokes.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
everyone is down with their drinks in their dinner and then 5 minutes and then they all go home.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, they're just got
So
the
yeah,
time. Where's Nathan gone? He's already
yeah,
finished.
where's he gone? The joke's already finished.
Yeah,
So my plan is to build that up to 10 minutes.
yeah,
I'm having a look at maybe opening up my own open mic bar for comedy here on the Gold Coast,
yeah,
or but the goal will be, I'd say it's probably going to take me another 3 to 4 months to have that 10 minutes. Then when I have 10 minutes, I'll advertise and I'll have a room, organize a bunch of comics, organize a night. Everybody comes down, bring
yeah.
family, has the laugh, and yeah, and then I'll be selling tickets to that, and then you just keep building those fives, brother, forever.
That's it. That's awesome. And look, you know what? Comedy is good for the soul. They always say laughter is so important
So
for
important.
you know, for your life. Daily, you need to laugh, and it's
Sure.
contagious. When someone else is laughing, what do? You can't stop laughing.
Wow.
You know.
To me, it's magic, mate. It's
Yeah,
magic. Coming to me, it's magic. You can change someone's physiological makeup within in a split second.
100%. It just changes you. Yeah,
You know, you could have a crowd full of people who are having the worst day,
mm.
and I have a direct order in saying some making noises out of my mouth that will make all of them piss themselves laughing,
That's it.
and then they'll
I know.
completely have forgotten about me one day.
Yeah, it's super cool. I love it. If I'm feeling a little bit out of whack, I will listen to a podcast with a couple of comedians, or I'll watch a stand up. I'm always,
What does it like?
man, I love Chappelle. I love
Yeah,
Dave Chappelle. I think he's
yeah.
funny as.
He's
And
the hardest working. Yeah, he's one of the best, mate. He's so
oh man,
good.
and I just love his old stuff. I love Richard Pryor. All the old
Oh yeah,
old school stand up with him. It's quite X-rated, and that's a lot of it you don't see it marketed anymore because it's pretty hardcore. But it's just
yeah,
funny. These guys would just naturally just stuff would just come out of their mouth. You know, it was just always funny. And even the old original Eddie Murphy stuff, you know, like Delirious, it's like out of this world, crazy.
Yeah.
You know, that's when I think of Dave Chappelle, and I think, you know, relate to him, to that kind of stuff with old Eddie Murphy, you know, from back in the day.
Definitely.
You know,
But
compared,
also, what I'll say, I'll give you this little
yeah,
bit of here, is that when you watch, for example, like you might have watched, say, Netflix, Dave Chappelle, and he had three specials. I think they came out over about 4 years.
yeah,
Yeah, and mate, he's one of the he's a freak of nature with comedy.
yeah,
Like
100%.
he can put together an hour set over about I think uh, maybe a 2 year period. There's only him and Kevin Hart that can really do that.
Yeah,
So when you're watching that hour, all those jokes have been told nearly 100 times, if not 200,
yeah,
and that hour takes a normal comedian about 5 years to create.
yeah.
Whereas you look at the reason why Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor all goats is because they can do that in 2 years. They can put together an hour special in 2 years, which is absolute insanity.
Oh,
Like
it's amazing. I
the
remember seeing,
fact that you laugh listening on your phone and that the whole crowd laughs
yeah,
is
because I just, what I
insane.
do sometimes, I'll put on like Dave Chappelle, but the reels will just pop up on TikTok. So I'm driving, I just listen to them, all the funny, you know, there's all different. And it's so funny. It
And
just
it's
doesn't matter.
timeless too, isn't it?
Hey,
It's still timeless. It's still
oh, it's
funny now.
timeless, man. Comedy is timeless. And, you know, even like I saw Dave Chappelle in Sydney, and yeah, it was blown away and really different. I did see Seinfeld many years ago, and that was cool, but that was very different. And as well, but that was real funny. Like, it was like perfect from start to finish. And you're right, it's got so many years of, like, he's got a book of jokes that just, it's built in his brain because he's done it so many thousands of times, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, he would have done that exact set probably 200 times.
Yeah, and it's so quick. He's so quick, you know. When there's a
So,
guy that's, you know, you get a heckler or anything like that, mate, you know how good a comic is when they can relate to a heckler. They know how to, you know.
yeah, that's weird. Not all comics do the back and forth with the crowd.
Yeah,
Me, I'm all for it. I've been heckled only a couple of times, but I'm I'm very keen to engage with people if they have something to say.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Oh my god, that's freaking me. Even just thought of it's just freaking me out. You know, one day we'll see what happens.
Oh mate, I think you definitely do it. It's like you're obviously a hardworking and disciplined guy throughout your business career. What it is it's putting that same discipline that you have in that across to comedy. And you think that it's two different things, but it's not.
Oh
Anybody can be a comedian. It's just I'll tell you what it is. It's 20 minutes of your day, 5 days a week for the next 6 months.
yeah, and you know what it is? It's, for me, it's the stuff. I don't even remember it now, but stuff just growing up as a kid. You know, being, you know, Anglo-Indian, and some of the shit that happened in our lives.
Yeah.
It was just comical. You know, people want to know that shit. I probably don't want to know it, but I want to tell them anyway. But it's just really interesting stuff and just funny. You know, uh, sometimes what's normal to us is like hilarious to someone else. You know.
Yeah, you don't know what someone else is going to laugh at, but what I'd say is with comedy, you have to be sold on the joke first.
Oh yeah, yeah. Man, that's why I
If
love
you
the
can't
guys at
make
Sushi Mango. The guys at Sushi Mango.
what's
Awesome.
the name?
Sushi Mango. Have you heard those guys? The Greek guys. Greek. Mate, you have Google them. They listen to their podcast. They're super funny. Super funny. Yeah, three guys from Melbourne, three good mates. A Greek and
Yeah,
Italian, and they just
I
got
think
the
I
old.
might have.
Yeah, yeah, they're really cool. I actually bumped into one of them at Melbourne Airport. Took a selfie with him.
Oh
Had a
man.
good chat with him. You know, and
Oh, and he was all right with that. He was pretty receptive.
yeah, yeah, mate, it was funny as. Yeah, so we were sitting on the plane actually together, and then we chewed the fat as we got off the plane.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so no, really nice guys. They're just down to earth guys, but really good at their craft. But oh, like, mate, they're filling up massive. Like the Rod Laver, they had it filled up 3 times over. They did a couple massive
Oh,
shows, in Sydney. Then they went overseas, went all around the world, did some like a world tour as well. And mate, people were just super engaging because they can relate to the Greek mums, the Italian mums. It's just funny. We all just it's just bringing something that we already relate to as kids, but it's funny that we think it was so silly, but it's actually funny when you bring it out and you talk about it. Especially when you imitate someone's mum or dad.
Yeah, with the family stuff, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
And so, yeah, I love it, man. I think comedy's funny. It's awesome.
Yeah. So how are you finding podcasting? How many episodes are you at now?
Oh God, I think I haven't done that many. I think I've done about 20, but I think there's a few that haven't been pushed out. And but yeah, I enjoy it. Like initially I put a pressure on myself to do one every week, and then I'm like, oh my God, it's actually it is too much pressure on myself to do it because people have got other things to do. There's always something's got someone on, or they're double booked, or they're feeling crook, or whatever it is. There's always something. So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself. I thought if I do one or two a month, I'll be happy with that.
I'll give you a specific that might help you out with this with your thought process. There is uh, what do you think it takes to be a top 10% of the world podcaster, like top 10% successful?
I don't know. I think you got to do at least 100. You got to
20.
20, really?
Yeah, 20 puts you in the top 10%.
Oh, mate, we're there,
How many
mate.
people?
How many have you
Yeah,
done now? You've done a few. You've done heaps.
I think this episode that I'm about to release is 20 or 19.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, 19.
yeah. No, that's awesome.
It's just not quitting.
Yeah.
Just,
Oh man, I'm not. I always try everything. People think I'm crazy. I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur. Always give everything a go. Always love seeing people go hard and do well. It really drives me. And but yeah, I think the podcast is cool because you get to and doing it like this and not in a like studio environment, with your fake plant next to you and all that kind of stuff. It's actually I can talk to anyone in the world. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's pretty cool. And that's what I like about it. So I'm gonna pick a few overseas guests for the next couple.
Yep.
I'm not gonna pick crazy time zones because I'm not gonna get up early for them. They're gonna get up early for me, the bastards. So I'm gonna try to pick it at a normal time, which would be cool. But yeah, just get some interesting people, with interesting stories. Yeah, they don't have to be, super popular or anything like that. I'm not really that fast. I just want to just talk to someone that I can just get on with.
Awesome, mate. It sounds like you're doing it just to simply do it.
That's it. Just and no, I think it's good. And you've had a range of people on yours.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you've had a bit of a mix.
Yeah. So MMA fighter, comedian, psychologist, business, SMP, real estate agent, and there's another a friend who's I just got a good mindset and overall look for life, and he's a young kid, head
Yeah.
screwed on. It's just it honestly it comes to me as I think I have my next guest ahead of me that I've planned, so one more.
Mm.
But yeah, it's just as soon as I find someone interesting, man.
Well, I'm happy to get on, mate. You just got to check with my assistant, and I can come on yours whenever you're ready.
Yeah, yeah, let me go through your PA.
Yeah, go through my PA. That's awesome. So, big plans now. Pretty much now till Christmas. You taking some time off, going on holidays? What's going on?
No holidays. Christmas is a busy time for SMP, so there's a big rush right before Christmas. Everybody wants it done right before the holidays. So for me, I just capitalize on that
Yeah.
and work all the way up. I work all the way up, and then hey, Christmas time, everything's expensive. Everyone's going away anyway. I normally pick my holidays outside of that. I'm in the process of planning a holiday for probably early next year.
Yeah, awesome. Overseas?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think I'm thinking about Japan. Probably the only place I haven't been.
Yeah, Japan would be great. My brother goes every year, and
Really?
yeah, he's like books.
Did you smuggle?
Pardon?
he snowboard over
No,
there?
man, he's got like 4 kids. They just go and they hire a house, like Airbnb, like a massive house. And so they can, buy food, and it's easy and it's convenient as their base. And from there, they just go travel different places, go on the bullet train for a night here and there. But they've got their
Everyone says
base.
it's good. Everyone says it's a nice place to go visit, even outside of the snowboarding. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I'd love to go. I want to go. But man, my kids are 3 years old and 5 years old. I'll be on the plane and all I'll be thinking about is Charlie shit his pants. You know what I mean? That's what I'll be thinking about on the plane. So I need to wait till I get a bit older, because literally will be a shit fight,
A literal shit fight.
Yeah, literal shit fight. Yeah, it's nothing worse.
Oh, God.
Them having gastro on the plane for like 8 hours somewhere, or it'll be disaster, a disaster.
You're making me very happy that I'm single over here with no children.
Yeah, because man, let alone the plane toilets, it's hard enough just to turn around in a toilet, let alone
Terrible.
change a nappy. How the hell are you going to change a nappy?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
You know what I mean?
How do you do that?
I got no idea. I haven't even thought it. I'm just like,
Your indetermination. How do you do that without getting shit on yourself?
I know. Well, especially when you
I
got
mean, if you do get shit on yourself, how do you have that conversation with the person sitting there?
turbulence, mate. I know. You gotta have a chance to change your clothes with you.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's a disaster. Especially the kids that never been on a plane. I don't know how my brother's done it, but he's done it with his kids. He's got 4 of them, and my brother's 8 years younger than me. And which is unbelievable. I don't know how he's done it. It's unbelievable. But
we need to get him on here. We need to talk about this.
I know, because I've seen people, like I've seen once I was going to Melbourne. There was like a lady there with 3 kids on there, really young kids. I'm like, how does she do it? One strapped here, carrying all the bags, then running. And she's just so patient. You got to be such a patient person,
I'd love to say I'm that patient. I don't think I am.
Oh man, the kids are just they're great. It's awesome. You love them heaps, but they're a pain in the booties, mate. And yesterday, Lola, she's like, Charlie's got a whistle, which is so annoying as it is. And Lola's like, I want a whistle. And I'm like, all right, we'll see what I can do. Then I had to ask her to do a few things. And as a favor, as a treat, I said, you know what? Tomorrow I'll buy you a whistle. She goes, can you give me a pink whistle? And I'm like, all right, I'll try my best. And then she pulls her hand out and she's like, she's only 5 years old. You promised me, shake on it. I'm like, okay, I promise you.
And closing the deal.
Oh, close the deal. I'm like, that was yesterday.
That's like, happening.
Shit, now I'm going to get a bloody whistle. Because if I don't get it, that's it.
Mate, that's a bad idea. Even I know that's a bad idea. I don't have children.
Oh my God, it was a nightmare. Well, you know what I came back with? You're going to love this. I came back with 2 recorders, old school recorders.
I remember that.
It's the best, mate. My office is in the backyard. So Rachel had to deal with them blowing these recorders for 2 hours, giving her a headache.
Oh, that's terrible.
But they were happy.
One time I bought my mate his kid some presents. I was like, oh, I'll get him Nerf gun. And he goes, brother, why the fuck do you get my kids Nerf guns? I was like, it's their birthday. It's like, that I'm going to go home with these kids and they've all got Nerf guns right now.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. They ended up getting confiscated like a week later because he's like trying to sleep and he's getting shot in the head with Nerf balls.
You gotta be really careful. I know. I find kids have just got too much stuff as well. Too much stuff. When I was a kid, mate, I just had a bloody tennis ball. That's it. You got a tennis ball, play with that, And it wasn't even my tennis ball. I think you even found the tennis ball. I had no even hair on it, But I thought, back in the day, mate, we were tough kids, mate. Let's play with marbles.
Yeah. But no phones. Remember going to you just go meet up with your friends and you text, if he's going to turn up, he's going to turn up. If he's not, you're going to ride the push bike for an hour and
ride back. Yeah, and you're lucky your push bike is still there when you 100%. Went back to the shop. You come back and shit, someone's like knocked off. Lucky at my old, I think it was called the Free Spirit I took the fenders off it, made it look like a BMX. It wasn't a BMX. Everyone knew it, but I tried to make it a BMX, try to look cool. But they were good days. And I remember talking about mobiles when I first got my mobile. It was 1988. I got a mobile phone.
Is that the one in your car though? Wasn't that
No,
the one?
it was a big. It was like I was about 19 or 20, I think it was.
Oh,
18.
the brick.
It was a brick one, but this one, it was called the Nokia Technophone, and I used to click it on my belt. I bought the case with the big clamp, it looked like a big clip.
Yeah.
I put it on my belt. I didn't know where but I was so skinny, it was pulling my pants down. That's how heavy the phone was. And but I love the phone. But I had no one to ring, so no one else had phones.
So
the only person I'd ring was my mum. So I'd be like, she's like, Richard, can you stop ringing me? You're ringing me like 20 times a day. I said, well, I need to pretend to ring someone. No one's ringing me on my stupid phone. And I paid $1,200 for this phone, the biggest plan. And, back then I was only earning $120 a week. And I got the most expensive phone on the market. But, hey, I look cool. I thought I did look cool anyway.
As long as you look cool, that's the main thing. I mean, and at least your mum knew that you were thinking about it.
I know, mum was happy. She was very appreciative that I rang her, even though I lived at home, and I'd ring her 10 times a day. And back then, I was like a cross between a Prince / Michael Jackson. That was the look I was going back then,
Really?
Yeah, mate. It was very different days back in the 80s, late 80s.
Oh, I can imagine. That's a completely different time.
Oh, mate. I remember I used to go out with a friend of mine. His name was Vic, and he was a real Michael Jackson lookalike, and he could dance like him. He had the moves. He was super cool, and he drove an LJ Tirana, with a roll cage and everything. So I was younger. I think I had a license, but I had a little old Honda Civic. And I'm like, mate, Vic, pick me up. We're going to the Marconi Club. And he picked me up in his LJ Tirana. And we go to the Marconi Club where they play R&B and hip hop and all this kind of stuff. And man, the girls would just swarm to him. You know what I mean? So I'm like, hey, I'm with him as well. And so, it was excellent. It was like bonus. Who are you with? I'm with Michael Jackson over there. Hey?
And you call your mum?
And I'll call my mum. And I'll do it every time I call mum. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be back late tonight.
So the girls, so that was like that was like the cool sort of hip thing at that time.
Oh yeah, man. That was
being able to dance and being
slick. Man, back then, you know what it is? Back then, guys danced. Do you know what I mean? When we went out, we'd go out and have a good time and dance in groups. We used to go to these different clubs in Sydney, and they're all like mainly R&B, hip hop. Like this is when Snoop back in the day, his first album, NWA. This is when they first started kicking. You know what I mean? So a lot of those albums came out in the late 80s, so they were quite prominent in the music. And so we used to hang out with all these guys, DJs. I used to DJ myself, and I used to play a lot of R&B and hip hop. And I just loved that scene. It was really cool. Well, you go out, you meet girls, and what you're going to do is dance. You just go and dance. These days, what do? Nothing. You go on TikTok. You go on an app, and you're like, oh, hey, how you going? And you got fake ass photos of yourself and all this crap. People see who you are. Obviously, you had a few bourbon and cokes, but and back then it was only $1 each, So that was awesome, mate. They were really good times. Those times have actually paid the way of who I am now, I reckon. They were really good time. Hey?
What makes you say that?
Oh, I think it's just the confidence. Like you see a lot of younger people, and back then you had to be a big communicator, in everything you did. There's no phones, So everything you do, you had to call someone on the landline, you had to go physically out there and talk to them. Now we're always behind, phones, behind your keyboards. You know how it is. It's a very different thing. And even meeting up, I think if you look at a guy and a girl meeting each other in a bar, they're both being fake asses. You know what I mean? For a long time before they're like, oh, because they've both got insecurity type issues, and just drama. And I think back then it was really different. Guys, we had to get out of our comfort zone, otherwise you're not going to meet anyone. You had to go and talk to someone. You had to tap on the shoulder. Would you like a dance? No, get
Yeah.
stuffed. Damn it! All right, you go to the next person. I think I need
That's
a
character
couple.
building, right?
Hey,
Not character building.
yeah, that's it. And it is all a character really, and it was awesome. It was good old days of old school cars, cool music. That's when the subbies, mate, the subwoofers started out back in the day.
Oh, some whooper, fully
Oh
sick.
yeah, fully sick. Yeah, they were awesome days. Actually, it's funny, you talk to a lot of other people in that scene around my age, and everyone's so relatable. It's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I was there. I used to go to the same bar, the same club. It's pretty cool, and the scene is completely changed. The music scene, we talk about live, like my brother and I had a bar in Sydney, and COVID killed it, and we ended up closing down 2-3 years ago. And we had live music every weekend. We had open mic nights. We did so much crazy stuff. And it was,
Not as often now, is it?
pardon?
It's not as often now, is it?
No, no, it's not. But live music is out. It's like there's nothing. There's nowhere to go for anything these days. I mean, back then, I found like in the 80s, 90s, there was live music. There's like more comedy shows around the place. It's just like bugger all now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I think staying inside now is there's so much that's so much stimulation
Yeah,
now. Like
that's it.
you can go on you can get a date from your phone, you can get food from your phone, you can watch any movie in the whole world. I even remember going to Blockbuster was one of the best times of the month.
I know.
To pick one DVD that you've got to fucking hold on to for the next 2 weeks.
I know. Or the Friday night, or you booked it and you go there to
Yeah,
get it, and the person hasn't dropped it back early. And you're like, that
yeah.
bastard, I booked it.
You're gonna
Where
go
are
get one
you?
of the weekend rentals that you've already seen, but you're gonna watch it again.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, my God. I remember, well, our shop, it was called Anthony Brothers and Co. And it used to be an old Blockbusters video in the mountains. And then we turned it into a
Oh,
bar.
oh, cool.
So every time everyone would say, so where are you guys up? We're the old Blockbuster. And they're like, oh, I know that place. We used to go all the time.
No,
Yeah, it was really cool. So yeah, I do miss the live music that we used to, just that enjoyment of live music. And we did some few comedy things. We did some, like we had some people come and just sing off the cuff, say, come on, mate, bring your guitar and just go crazy. And it was awesome.
oh, wow. Can I ask you this? Do you think that, like, obviously you've seen a lot over the change of socializing between human beings over your time. What do you think the impact of COVID had on that? Do you think that that just capitalized on an already introverted society?
Yeah, I think what it does, I think it's COVID has kept put people more inward than outward, if you know what I mean. So it's taken away people's confidence on doing certain things, and it's restricted them in doing certain things. And I think people have been businesses have been tarnished and hurt so much by COVID that they just don't have the confidence to do it again. For me, it was a couple of things. It was COVID was one. And, I lost my sister. Like a few years into the business at the same time as COVID, and it got to a stage where like this is like too much for us, for my brother and I. So we thought, it's not the time for us to continue this business. Look, we end up selling not the business name, but just the business itself, and we're happy with that. We're happy just to move on, and you know what? It was an experience. I remember that first week we opened, and we did so $22,000 that first week.
Oh my God.
You know, and it was like, oh my god,
What business is this?
it was pardon.
What business?
It was called Anthony Brothers and Co. It was like a little restaurant bar.
Oh, this is the bar. Sorry. Yep,
Yeah,
now I'm
yeah,
following.
yeah, and it was really cool. Like we enjoyed it. I really loved meeting people and greeting. Even now, I'll go at the servo and someone will come up. Oh, Rich, I remember your shop, man. I love that bar. And
Yeah,
we used to make
yeah,
like
yeah.
crazy cocktails, and Yeah, it was really cool. The burgers, some of the burgers were named after my kids, and even Lola was kind of brought up at that bar. When she was young, she'd go there and dance, just dance in front of the band, you know. It was
That's
really
so
cool. Got
cool.
some awesome videos, and we had our own wine label. We had everything. We honestly, we just really loved the process. Love, and that's why it's really sad. Hospitality is probably one of the hardest industries to be in, but hardest industries to actually run as a business owner, because you pretty much have to give up your life to be there all the time.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's not something you can have managers run it, because people get sick, and they're who they're going to call? They're going to call you. You know,
Yeah.
I'd finish work, I'd go there, and then I'd be like, I'm going to chill Thursday, Friday night, and they go, oh, Rich, the delivery driver's not rocking up. We need a hand. I'm like, shit. And then I'd have to go rock up there, you know? At least I
Mm.
blended in as an Uber driver, so it's fine, you know? Yeah.
So going back to what you're talking about before, is that like you're talking about your youth and your socializing and stuff like that, and meeting you, you are a social person. Like
Yeah.
you definitely very outwardly social, and like obviously that's paid huge dividends in your work and your life. How do you think like because I think that we're heading away from that, but how do you think we head back to that?
Oh,
Head
well, look, let's go back, right? When I was young, I was actually quite shy as a
right.
kid. As a kid,
Mm. Do you
I was
think you would
shy.
have turned out like that if you had this age of social media?
Okay, if I was the kid I was back then now, growing up now, I'd still be a shy kid at 30 years old.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But
I
then
understand.
there was all tools that weren't, given to me by different things you had to do in life to get to A, B, and C, that we all had to
Yeah.
go through, that build our confidence, you know.
Right.
So you
We're avoiding.
so where my dad worked all the time, he worked during the week and then worked on the weekends. Mum was flat chat. There's always like, okay, so you had to be pretty much very resourceful yourself to be able to do things. And so it kind of pushes you to do it, So when I was, I think I was only like 16, I loved DJing, but I couldn't get my license. So at the time I was like 17, I got my license. I had two, three people working for me. I was DJing every weekend. I was earning more money DJing on one DJ gig than what I was working on my apprenticeship during the week. I was on,
Wow.
so I was earning 110
So
bucks on
when
the
did
apprenticeship.
this happen? Because if you said you were a shy person, then 16-year-old Rich is doing that. How did you,
So
what did you,
what I did, I
what
had to
did
force myself to do it. If I wanted to make money, I had to push
mm,
myself. I was packing death every time I went to DJ. I was like,
right.
really like stomach was like aching with anxiety before I even went, but I pushed myself to do it. A lot of people these days would not do that.
No, I don't
They
think
wouldn't do
so.
it. I had to do it.
Also, too, you don't really have any external things giving you dopamine at that point. Like you're not going there. What are you going to do at home by yourself? And like what would you wouldn't be able to stimulate yourself with an iPhone or a TV, Netflix or something.
No, we weren't doing it. We were always out and about. We're going to the
Mm.
movies. We're going to clubs on the weekends. But then I wasn't going to clubs. I
Mm.
was working every weekend. So I was doing my apprenticeship during the week. Friday nights DJing, Saturday nights DJing. Sundays I'll tinker around with my car because I had to do it myself because I couldn't afford to take it to a mechanic because I'm on first year apprentice wages. And I did end up,
You've always been this rich that's been interested in a whole bunch of things.
yeah, always. I've done, oh my God, things I've done, man. I've done photography. I did fashion photography for many years, about 10, 15 years ago. I was working one of the biggest agencies as a side hustle, mind you, one of the biggest agencies in Sydney, taking photos of models that were going overseas to Milan and to Paris. And
Wow,
I was
that's
doing all
great.
their lookbooks prior to that. It was really cool. And I'd show Rachel, and go, are you taking photos of just girls in swimsuits all day? Just swimsuits. And I'll tell you a funny story. I don't think I've ever said this on my podcast, but
No.
about 3 months prior to us getting married, this guy contacted me from Singapore, and he had these new like what do you call it? Like there's bloody, there's like bandanas, like scarves. He had a scarf range, and he had these really cool silk scarves, and he wanted to some models to advertise it, and he wanted like a photo shoot. And I said, listen, man, it's coming to Christmas soon. We're pretty busy. And he didn't submit anything. Do you want to give me a deposit? And so I just thought, you know what? I'll forget about him. 4 weeks before Christmas, he rang me and said, look, man, I'm really desperate. I'm in Sydney now. Can you help me with a model and a photo shoot? And I said, listen, I'll see what I can do. And then I showed him photos of my fiance at the time. And I said, look, I found this model. I don't know if she's available. What do you reckon? And he's like, oh yeah, she'll be great,
Oh, no way.
So I booked her in. I couldn't fit the shoot in any time. We booked it in the day, 2 days after we actually just got married. So 2 days after we got married, we did this photo shoot, and I had to pretend that my wife was a stranger, model. And so in that whole photo shoot, it was in the rocks in Sydney.
Touch each other, there's no kissing on the side, there's
Yeah.
no just like, hey, can you sit over
So
there, please?
what's your name again?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Richard.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Shake hands and we left, and
you guys just have some random chat like, oh, so what did you get up to on the weekend?
Yeah.
He's like, not much.
It was so funny. And the makeup artist was a friend of mine, and she did the makeup for the wedding as well. So she was there helping me, and she's helped me in a lot of shoots. But it was so funny, mate. It was so funny that she had to pretend to not know me. I had to pretend, to be really professional. And every time he wasn't looking, we're like giggling like little schoolgirls. It was really funny. It was really fun, it was really cool. And I think, and for me, this thing, I'd done these different things from DJing in the Greek islands to bloody, taking photos of models to, done all different things. And I think that's the thing. You can do anything you want in life. And even with our training business we run, one of our motto is we can transform your life. Literally, you do a course, you can change your life. People look at courses to learn and educate. Mate, look at courses to do something different. Like you. Look at you. You did a course and you changed your life for the better, to something completely different. And that course not only changed your life in such a different way, it changed your whole lifestyle, the way you live. You know what I mean? Isn't it? The way you work, the way you can put more energy and time into building yourself to be a better Nathan from that job. Because the other job, you were just knackered and tired, and you were just, you know what I mean? You didn't have that time or flexibility.
To pass the time until the next time I had to be at work.
Yeah, that's it. And that time didn't, like now, the time you have, you get to think about choice. Where before you didn't get to think about choice. You just got to think about getting into your next day and doing your next day's work till the weekend came. It was very different. See, now it's all about choice. I always tell people, if you don't like your job, go back home and get another job. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, we live in a country where that's possible too.
Yeah. If you don't like where you live, jump in it, sell your house, go move somewhere else, go rent somewhere where you really want to rent and live. Enjoy life. Who cares? When we're born, we're born. When we die, we die. That's it. This time between, right now, every day is another day that's gone. Like this day, when it gets dark, that's another day we've lost in our life. All right, man. Shall we rock and roll?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Thank you so much for having me on. That was awesome.
Thanks for coming on, my friend. And we should do another 2.0 version another day.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, I'm always interested. Always love having a chat.
Yeah, and it'll be good to see how the stand-up's evolving as well, and to see what the next step is if you're going to have your own venue doing it. I think it's a good idea. I think
it is something I want to create. So I want to create a better space for comedy. I don't think that we have that here.
Yeah. And then getting the audience, the right audience, trying to market, get the right audience to come, you know?
I think you can cultivate the right audiences as soon as they walk through the door. That's one thing I've noticed is that none of the room runners have a conversation with the audience beforehand
Yeah.
about hacking, about playing on your phone, about talking amongst one another, about what's even happening there. They don't actually know what they're turning up to.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. It's exciting.
Mm,
Fun
definitely.
times.
Yeah, I've actually got a show tonight.
Have you? Hey, excellent. Where is it at?
Surface Paradise. I'll be tonight.
Yeah, cool. Well, give me some links and I'll share the love with our wacky viewers. There's like the wacky viewers, like viewer. There'll be like one freak on the
Yeah,
couch watching us right now when we put it live.
I love that freak.
Yeah,
He's my
like,
favorite person.
yeah. No, awesome. Thanks, Nate. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate your
Awesome.
time. And you be safe. And I will, yeah, we'll chew the fat soon. All right.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank
having me.
you,
Enjoy
mate.
the rest of your day.